Alright, I am exhausted. I have just spent so many hours casting Mechabellum, and despite that, I am now recording a video talking about Mechabellum. The reason for this is I just cast the Serpentine Mag1 tournament games, and Rooster just blew my brains out with the range of ridiculous creative strategies that this man used. Now, I was already a fan of Rooster. I feel like he's just an awesome player, has a good range, and he makes really good content where he explains himself very well. What I didn't realize until casting his run in this tournament is just how creative this man is and how much understanding he has across the whole spectrum. It feels to me like most players out there are good at a few things, even at the top level, and they have specific play styles. It feels like Rooster, yes, he has certain builds he's known for, but it feels like he has immense range. And he blew me away with how many times he took weird cards or unit drops and completely pivoted his strategy to be based around them. Check this out. So we're gonna show you guys a few highlights of the games, and then I'm gonna show you just the most ridiculous game from the entire tournament, which was so awesome. He's gone for level 5 elite crawlers. He's taken the elite crawler card, so he can make what is normally the basic chaff unit, little guys that are just there to absorb shots. He's making them at level 5 for 250 supplies a pop, and he's spreading these across his entire line. And I love the pattern recognition. To just look at that, a card which a lot of people don't really spend a lot of time thinking about and dismiss. He looks at it and he says, you know what, there's a few Mustangs that are somewhat leveled. Mustangs not good versus leveled crawlers. There's only one level 3 Arclight. The rest of them are all level 1 and level 2. There's nothing else that can deal with crawlers. So the crawlers are really good for obviously getting in the way of the hackers and just kind of trying to win the chaff war to turn this against his opponent. Because otherwise, if you've just got your sledges starting to get mind control, you can see he's got this sledgehammer cage going. This whole setup with the sledgehammer cage from that very top left all the way down, especially now with oil coming down as well. But like, I was just like, dude, I would never have thought of doing this. And this was just so cool. You can see the hackers there trying to steal units down in the middle, overlord blasting. Some of the hackers start to go down on that left flank. Even with the oil, he's doing okay, but you can see the top left corner is the problem. That's where he's lost that entire sledge flank. Luckily, he is crushing through the middle and the bottom. All right, guys, so Elite Crawlers already had me super excited, and then he goes ahead, and that's right, yes, he made a video on this last week, which I think might have even, I think he put this out even before this tournament, or maybe it was just after he played this tournament, talking about life sharing, one of the least used tech. I know it was meta like over a year ago, apparently, before the game was even fully released, but life sharing on the sledgehammers, and it's so cool because he puts level 1 sledgehammers to link up his level 2 and level 3 sledgehammers over there, so even if they get hit by a melter, the low hit point ones will die, break the link so you don't lose all your sledges at once. So he has this like, just, this is one of the most ridiculously niche techs out there, but he said, you know what? If I get that and I get repair so that they're healing up with that massive life, look at that left side. Yes, he loses the entire top left flank, but look at the other sledges. They just don't take damage. And don't get me wrong, this is not the most powerful, like overwhelming, best, most efficient play, but it's one of those plays that most people discount as being terribly bad. And he leaves it on his loadout and he looks for the situation where he says, you know what, I think I can do this. You might think, well, why do this against hackers? They're going to steal them off you, and then they've got higher hit point sledges. Like, they've even got a mini link in that top left. Yes, they will. However, keep in mind, the way a hacker works is it has to hack through your life. So if your improved life pool is already higher and you're repairing, so any damage you're taking is getting healed up, it's actually going to take you longer to get those hacks going in the first place. I just think it was so cool as well to risk this, because this is the upper bracket of the tournament. It's only best of 1. You don't want to go to the losers bracket, but he risks it all here on what many players would consider a crazy gamble. But I feel like, you know, it's funny coming from a StarCraft background where I feel like a lot of my competitive instincts say, stick with what you know, something that you know you're going to execute really well. But in a pure strategy game with no mechanics, there's no real execution other than a little bit of positioning. I really feel like it actually rewards you being a player like Rooster, who always is just going, not what do I know the best, but what do I think could surprise my opponent and work in this niche situation. And it was funny because when I was commentating this live, I was like, oh, it's a shame it didn't work. What I didn't realize is even here at the end, look at this fight. The sledgehammers are very slowly getting taken over by level 2 hackers, but very slowly. And they're killing almost everything on the ground at the same time. The hacker goes down, and the timer is actually going to run out in this round. So I remember I was commentating live and I was like, oh, it's a shame it didn't work. Maybe you should have committed more to the flank. Maybe you should have done this. Maybe you should have done that. And then we get into this next bit and I'm like, wait a second. Oh, they both took damage? I'm like, what? He didn't even lose. How the hell? Well, guys, unfortunately, he did end up losing that game, but it didn't matter because he had more memes up his sleeve. He picked Giant Spec, sold out of a Stormcaller start here with Stormcaller Fang, and he goes for Scorch Range Vulcans. And you can see here, he's got Vulcan Phoenix, 3 squads of Phoenix, and he's got 3 Vulcans. And you see what happens here. So basically, the fortress drop comes down, and he knows that his opponent's going to take it. So what does he do? He says, you're going to take the fortress, you're going to click anti-air, because you know I'm playing Vulcan Fortress. How can I counter this? So what he does is he starts selling his Phoenix 1 per turn from now on, takes the fortress drop himself, clicks range on it, and he plays Vulcan plus range fort, which is just such a cool swap up in the moment. Now, I'm sure this is not the craziest for some of the high-level players out there, but what I especially love about this game is the way he built this. He got a Vulcan on round 2, and it becomes an absolute powerhouse. I think the range fortresses might win. There's like this fortress battle going, but no, it looks like he's getting overrun, and the wasps and the Phoenix are coming in, and I'm like, it's a smart idea, but it's a shame he got really destroyed this round. You know, it really didn't work out. Hold that thought. His fortress gets wrecked. Look at this level 3 Vulcan with the, the absorption module, which gives it 90% lifesteal, guys. There's 2 fortresses, 8 wasps, 2 arclights, 3 arclights, sorry, 2 Phoenix, all attacking it, and it's just not dying. It kills 1 fortress. If it can kill the other fortress, it might actually heal up. And it does, it heals it. Oh my god. And this 1 Vulcan basically solos the entire enemy army, despite his left watchtower getting crippled and his entire army on that side. And this Vulcan carried him through this game. I mean, it just got more and more powerful. I think it ended at level 4, and it was such a key part of his momentum in this. So this was just another really cool kind of highlight moment. That Vulcan had about 1 billion damage by the end of this game. Armor against a mostly Mustang board on a unit that has 400,000 hit points. I mean, this thing is disgusting. Look at all those Mustangs doing no damage to it. The Scorpions are doing some damage, as are the Arclights, because of course the way armor works is it blocks 60 damage per level, so it's blocking 120 damage per attack. All the Mustangs are doing less than that, except for the level 3 ones, which are doing a little bit more. I think they do like 124 damage or so, but it's still just tanking so much, and it's allowing his Mustang, Storms, Farseer, everything to just clear up the entire board. And this was just such a devastating finishing move. And it's good as well. I think this is one of those important things. Sometimes when I'm ahead, I kind of just coast. And watching Rooster here just reminded me once again, I'm like, I really should finish games off with moves like this War Factory move. It is just so good. Look at that swing 1400 life. All right, guys, so after that, we went into the losers finals, which was between Fairy, who I consider the best player in the world, amazing standard player, very straight up, but is so good at it. And I really thought, oh, you're going to be in trouble here. But that's, of course, when for anyone who's known Rooster for a long time, you guys know I'm newer to Mechabellum, but this is going to be his famous strategy that he is famous for inventing that got handed to him on a platter in this game. That's right. He just got the improved Wasp card on round 2. And we know anyone who's followed Rooster knows what Rooster likes to do with that improved Wasp card. He has a special build he popularized, which is Wasp Worm, where he always has his loadout ready in case that card comes, where he actually uses his wasps to clear chaff. All right, guys, so as it progresses, basically you can see he just builds this giant board of mass wasps with some fangs, some crawlers up front, and he's got splash damage, so the high explosive shells, and the range upgrade on them. And you can see at this point, there's leveled Mustangs with range and large numbers coming out, and it's starting to not look as effective. He was doing pretty decently in the rounds before this, but you can see they're getting shredded on the left side. He is winning this right side. Sorry for my camera being quite so high there, guys. I'll trim that down a little bit. My bad. Blocking some parts of the screen, my bad. Yeah, you can see, okay, he's losing these rounds, but not massively. And I kept going, why hasn't he gone worm yet? Because I was thinking, you gotta go worm round 4. Of course, that's because I'm a simpleton who forgot he wants to wait for the unit drop. And ta-da! He gets a level 2 worm drop, and he's like, thank you very much. I don't have to pay 200 to unlock it. And I really felt kind of bad for Fairy in this game, but also just happy that in a big tournament, Rooster got his own famous build delivered to him, gets the improved Wasp turn 2 so he could set up for it, gets the Sandworm drop on turn, I think it's round 6, and boy does he build an incredible board. So of course, the way this style works, guys, is you get Sandstorm on the worms, and that basically shoots up this big 5-second Sandstorm, massively reduces range and damage of all ranged units, but it only affects ground units. So your Wasps are unaffected, but notice how all the Mustangs and everything all run into really close range. And even though it only lasts 5 seconds, once basically it makes long-range units run in way too close range, do way less damage, and even though these Scorpions and the Sabertooth are clearing the Sandworms very quickly, your Mustangs are charging into the heart of a bunch of high explosive Wasps that are gunning them down. So, I mean, this is like Ferry played pretty much perfectly against this, I feel like. I don't know if there's anything he could have done differently here. I think this style is just so hard to stop when it's executed this well and the worms come down on the right turn. But you can see it's just hard to deal with. All right, guys, so at this point, we saw advanced offensive tactics in round 10 get taken for Little Ferry. So good for a mass Mustang board. He has 3 different range and damage items across these super leveled Mustangs. One of them's doing 350 damage a shot. That's insane damage on those level 4 Stangs. And with the Acid Scorpions with double shot and range as well, I was like, dude, I don't even know. Is this just the point where the game's gone too long? Yeah, you've got more hit points as Rooster, but I don't think you can kill this anymore. Rooster's answer to this, guys, and I was wondering, like, what does he pivot to out of this style? But Rooster, he knew better. That is a lot of worms, ladies and gentlemen. He just covers the board in like 15 worms, so they come in all staggered. So there is a never-ending chain of sandstorms. And his wasps that are all leveled to like level 4 at this point, they all have range and explosives still. I don't think he bothered with elite on them. He just said, just have more worms, just give them levels, give them range, give them high explosive. And you can see just this constant stream of sandstorms popping up one after the other. And it was absolute destruction. I mean, this is such a sick style. It's his own trademark style. I love seeing it come out here. This is just Rooster at his best play. 3,000 plus life left in the bank, taking down Ferry. Sick play. All right, guys, so if we skip ahead to the final game in this series, he lost the next game trying to do some fancy Carry Fang stuff, which I was also like, Rooster, what are you doing? Carry Fang? Is that good at high level? But look at this. I was like, I don't think any of these cards are good. Subsidized Crawl is a bit of a meme, but it is fun. And he actually goes and picks Improved Overlord, which gives plus 20% attack, 20% hit point, and most importantly, 5 bonus splash range. Goes from 7 to 12 meters, which is massive. It's not quite as big as a Scorpion or a Vulcan. They're 15 meter splash, which is kind of like one of the biggest radiuses you'll see in the game, really, unless it's like an orbital jab, which is like 30 meters, I think. But it's frigging big. And he goes for Overlords here. And I was going the whole game like, what are you going to go for Chaff Clear? Is really Sledgehammers enough? He clicks Sledgehammers and Mech Rage, I think, the turn before this. He's got like a little semi-cage here, and he commits to the Improved Overlords. All right, guys, so we're just going to leave my camera turned off because I messed up my production at this point. You could just see old me talking in the middle of the screen. But he was having a lot of problems with his Chaff Clear. He'd gone range and launcher overload. He had his Mech Rage Sledgehammers. He didn't want to go range on them because he wants them to stay in front so they tank for his Overlords. But he still doesn't really have Chaff Clear. And I'm like, what the hell? Can you do this even with your splash radius being so big? But the final cherry on top of the cake here was he just added a whole bunch of dogs. I think he might have even got a pack. I think he got a pack, a unit drop for them potentially. And he just clicks the fire bombs on them. And he says, you know what? A mix of Mech Rage Sledges, Hounds with fire bombs, and these Improved Overlords, and we can do it. And I was just so impressed. The Overlords, I mean, these guys are expensive. They cost 600 supplies each. But he got to 6 of them, leveled them, and had 2 upgrades. And I remember thinking 600 is too expensive. You're never going to get to use this. But what was so cool about this is the fact that it's like, well, actually, it's only a 20% increase in cost. Whereas if you get like other units that are improved, you go from 400 to 500, you know, that's a 25% increase. That's a bit more significant. If you go from 200 to 300 with improved wasp, that's a 50% increase in cost per unit, which is really high. Now you can see the melters were causing him quite a bit of trouble here. And that did look kind of scary because whenever they do track onto an Overlord, it dies very quickly. But also, look at how quickly the Overlords kill the melters. We just saw one get 1 shot there, which is insane. This melter starts tracking on. Nope, doesn't matter. It gets taken down. And what's really interesting here, I didn't notice it when I was first casting it, guys. But you're going to notice the Mustangs actually clicked missile interference this turn. So let me rewind and show you. So I think what Ferry might have forgotten is they buffed the Overlord missiles in the last patch. So they actually have more hit points now. So in this last round, Ferry trying to click the Mustang intercept. But notice how you're barely seeing any missiles getting intercepted at all. They're almost all landing on targets. But the Mustangs are still wasting a lot of time that could be attacking other units on shooting the missiles. So it's actually a double whammy here where, who knows, maybe this wouldn't have worked if Ferry didn't try to counter with missile intercept, or it would have at least been a little bit closer. But kind of crazy to see that it really does not seem like it's worth it to click missile intercept on Mustangs at the moment. All right, so there's a bunch of the cool strategies that won me over and made me a super fan. But I have saved the best game for last. And rather than just showing you a minute of it or two, a little bit of a highlight, I'm just going to throw the whole game in. The energy's a little bit low at the start because I've been casting for so many hours, but trust me, stick with it. You do not want to miss where this game goes. It was my favorite game of the tournament, hands down. All right, it's time for the Serpentine Cup Mag1 Finals. That is right. We have a Rooster in the bottom left side who's going to, in this start of this best of 3, be picking Aerial Spec with a Stormcaller Crawler start up against Tungdil. Player who beat him in the best of 1 in the upper bracket earlier in the tournament has just been waiting while Rooster fought his way through that losers bracket. And now Tungdil is going to be going for a Tarantula Crawler Rhino Spec start. So, going to be standard defensive for Rooster, a little bit more aggressive for Tungdil, a bit more forward with those short range Tarantulas, but you got to say, when you open Tarantula, they've got Stormcallers, it never feels great. Now, it's interesting, look at the way he's gone vertical storms. One of the big advantages to vertical storms, guys, they don't have as much profile. These guys, if you put guys behind them, can get pushed to the front line. This takes up less of your production space. It also makes them stagger their missiles just a little bit more, which sometimes has some positive effects. It just kind of changes the profile a little bit, which should do well against this vertical setup. And I'm saying this going, where's my game sound? I'm realizing my headphones, I got the wrong headphones plugged in. There we go. Look at that Stormcaller volley. They're good against Fangs and great against Tarantulas. The Crawlers, though, no answer for the Crawlers as the Hounds on the right side crumple. There are still Hounds on the left, but these Stormcallers are going to say goodbye. But look at this rocket. Oh, that was a big volley. And another decent volley. Wow. Okay, yeah, those Crawlers are going to get cleaned up. And then once the Stormcaller can focus on the Tarantula, it should be an easy cleanup here for Rooster in round 1. Rhino Spec versus Aerial Spec. You guys know my thoughts on Aerial Spec. I'm not a big fan. Find it's a little predictable that you're going to try to go for air. As a result, I think it's best played as not something you really commit to, but you just kind of use it cleverly to unlock certain air units that you don't want to play against so that your opponent doesn't get unit drops of them. And maybe if there's a good opportunity for it, you're a little more likely to use those air units. At the same time, you can expect Mustangs usually out of your opponents when you play Aerial Spec to preemptively counter wasps. And check it out. Subsidized Mustangs comes out. Tungdil's like, I'm against Aerial. Of course I'm going to click on that. Now, Rooster could go Subsidized Storms. What does he run? He's got range, he's got Launcher Overload, he's got Incendiary. Those are the 3 upgrades you can use to potentially overwhelm Mustangs with Storms. Usually not a great idea, but it's a fun gamble. And I wonder if he's willing to invest in that gamble. I do wonder. Extended Phoenix range. Extends the range by 20, but decreases attack by 20%. Wow, okay. So instead he's going to go for Phoenix round 2 with extended range, which brings them from 120 to 140. It essentially makes them the same as a marksman. Now keep in mind, he does not run elite. He does not have like carry Phoenix tech. You'd be crazy to do that at high level. He's got Charge Shot for extra damage versus big giants. He's got Jump Drive for potential game-ending stuff, and he's got the Energy Shield. Now here we go, just a lot more chaff coming in. He goes for his own Hounds in the corner, which are going to get wrecked the first turn they spawn, but they will do well against the Crawlers in the next turn, so it's something that might require a bit more of a response from this turn onwards. Phoenix kind of useless for now, and the question is, how much do we believe in these Hounds? Because Tarantulas clear Hounds pretty quickly. Hounds aren't amazing chaff clear. Does he go Arclights, or is he going to play Phoenix Vulcan? Oh, Rooster's going to go straight to Vulcan. Right, because we saw him do this in one of his earlier matches. If he skips Arclights, he might try to rush to Vulcan, especially if there's like an early Vulcan unit drop. He's going to go Vulcan Phoenix. Oh, I really wonder if that's what he's planning here. I think he's definitely looking for an opportunity to avoid building Arclights. Because if you go Arcs, you want to get some levels on them early, usually. If you don't have any Arclights till round 3, usually you're kind of, it's not even an option. Hounds are semi-chaff clear, and here's the unit drop. No Vulcan, no Fire Badger option. It's Fortress, Typhoon, Wasp, or Sandworm. Well, Fortress for both sides. Fortress being the most well-rounded, right? It is the most well-rounded. I think Sandworm is a decent option because it's quite tanky, but the Fortress is going to be a bit more generically useful at supporting units around it with Barrier. It's got good range damage. It's just a well-rounded unit. Oil! Oh, Rooster's going to try and slow down the advance with Oil, especially without having any chaff clear other than 2 squads of Hounds. He realizes that's very important. Now, check this out, guys. These Hounds, you'd think are really good. But those crawlers leveled up, which means it's going to take 3 shots. 3 shots from these hounds to kill the crawlers. I still think the hounds beat the level 2 crawlers. You guys correct me if I'm wrong on that. And if you don't put anything else down, I think they kill both crawler squads. This one, half of that squad, and then eventually kill the tower. So I think this might be something where we're overestimating the power of level 2 crawlers. If they were spread a bit more, maybe, but the way they're going to clump up towards those hounds, I don't think that's going to go well. Range Tarantula for Tungdil, guys. Germany up against the Netherlands. And let's see how those hounds go in that top right as the oil slows down the front assault. Yeah, you can see the hounds are clearing them, but once the crawlers get on top, they crumple. No, the hounds go down. Okay, the hounds do go down. It was a close fight. Once the crawlers got on top, the hounds just disappeared way too fast. Second fortress came in, by the way, for Rooster, guys. Marksman adding a bit of damage to the tarantulas here, trying desperately to chaff clear, getting stuck in this oil rather bad. And one squad of Mustangs has come in. Remember, there was subsidized Mustang. Looks like the Phoenix ran in and got itself killed by the looks of things. Keep in mind, no Fang production for Rooster. Tungdil does have Fang production. The difference being there's launcher overload. So these fortresses, Roosters have a better carry set of options. If they end up in fortress versus fortress, his fortresses will win. So, assuming he has something to deal with the Fangs, I think that means you don't really want to keep making fortresses here as Tungdil. You can keep the single level 1 for now. It's a good generic unit. But long term, that's not going to be great. Now, this missile didn't get set off. He had a sort of defensive missile in case something came in from the corner. And these storms are going to get taken down. Good start for Tungdil. Tungdil's looking really good. Massive damage. Going to get almost 1,000 damage that turn, which is actually really nice. Heavy armor for Tungdil. Now, advanced targeting, it's way too early to take that. Only a 10 range boost is always pretty small, so it's very rarely a priority. But we are going to be seeing the heavy armor come in. Tungdil does just kind of chill for now. He's got another tarantula in the corner. He's got the rhino come down because it is round 4, remember, so he gets his bonus this round. What happened to the Phoenix, by the way, guys? Did he sell his Phoenix? Oh, he sold his Phoenix. Oh, he did sell the Phoenix. Ladies and gentlemen, check it out. There is an anti-missile device on that left side. Wow, he goes anti-missile to allow that rhino to get on that tower quickly. But the hound's leveled. The hound's leveled in the top right, and those hounds being level 2 means they annihilated the corner. Also, oil plus the Vulcan being added now. As I said, he always wanted to play Vulcan. He was not investing in chaff clear. He gets a paralyze. The fire's there. Hound's coming in from the rear. The Fortress is going to win this. Fortress, Vulcan, Hound. I mean, it feels like Tungdil's going to have to go Melter here, right? I feel like you've got ranged tarantulas. You've got multiple giants in front of you. It's tempting. It's very tempting. Does go for the Fire Badger pick here. I think Overlord would have been a decent option for him. I'm actually surprised he didn't go Overlord against Rooster's board, but I guess because Rooster has aerial spec, he figures Rooster would love to, you know, counter that with his own units. Now, this is interesting, guys. The anti-missile device, he wants to kill immediately. It can block the missiles of the Overlord. The Overlord is not going to be able to land hits on the Rhino very accurately when the Rhino's running, but when it's stopping to fight chaff units, it will. So you can see Mobile Beacon trying to dive the tower. Rooster's ready for it on that side. Over on the right side, we've got range on these two fortresses. So both sides are going range forts. Tungdil committing to a ranged fort battle. But like I said, launcher overload is there, and that could be a real problem. Now, the missile interference device, missile interceptor, sorry, does go down straight away. These Fangs not really blocking that. Oh, I can't believe it. How did it get past? It went straight past those Fangs, even though they were on the line of it. Wow, whoa, 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 whoa. Was it just, is it, so I thought the path on the Mobile Beacon, it considered the whole path. I'll have to explain Mobile Beacon AI to you guys after this round. That's a really, really nice tower snipe, allowing him to win this round. He's got a marksman, which should be able to deal with the Overlord, I believe, especially with the paralyze effect coming in. Also, I mean, can it? Overlord does a lot of damage. It's going to take like 10, 15 marksman shots to kill this Overlord. It's going to take a lot. So I'll explain to you guys how Mobile Beacon works, and anyone who's a really high-level player who catches me on anything I say wrong can correct me in the chat or the comments section, okay, guys? Marksman goes down, actually. The fortress was lagging behind. So let me explain this, guys. They both take heavy armor. We don't even need to talk about it. So basically, if you do a Mobile Beacon, right, it has a big circle. Say the circle's this big. If the rhino's in this side of it, it considers the path not the whole big path that goes out in this big fat line. It's only that little corner where the rhino is standing in it. So the path is actually much smaller, for example, in that direction. So in this case, I guess the rhino was about here, and then it kind of went on this path, right? Or maybe like this path, where once it killed the front little section of fangs, it actually said, hey, there's nothing else on my path, I'll go to the tower. Whereas with a mobile beacon, all units can move and shoot other than hand-to-hand units, and they will just follow the path and shoot units as they go without stopping, unless there's an enemy unit on their part of the path, in which case they'll stop to attack it. So really, really interesting. A bit of a botched fang placement there for Rooster, but Rooster says, you're too good of a player to expect me to not counter it the next turn. You're going to sell that. So he sells his Overlord, just assumes it's done, but he does go for a Fortress here anyway. Deals with the Fire Badges in the corner. It also would have dealt with that as well, and he's also gone that Launcher Overload. So like I said, if it's fort versus fort, Rooster should win the duel because he's got the Launcher Overload. Downside, he's not got the Chaff Clear. He's got one Vulcan, and that's it. And Oil has a long cooldown, right? So is one Vulcan enough chaff clear to make up for this? Because he could be facing Fang production, he could be facing barriers, and Fang production and barriers might be able to overwhelm because he's just going to be busy, especially hitting little Fangs and stuff like that. Now this Vulcan is the big carry on this side. It's all about this Vulcan clearing all the little boys so the fortresses can actually hit big targets. But look at that, it goes down, and once it's gone, these fortresses are just hitting basic units. Yes, they have 5-meter splash, they can hit a few units at a time, but not a crazy amount. Now they do shoot very fast. Dude, fortresses shoot crazy fast. What the hell? Launcher Overload. Wow, 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 wow. It feels like they shoot faster than once a second. It says every 0.9 seconds, but yeah, it feels like that's not necessarily how they do it. That's interesting. Because notice they shoot one gun, shoot the other gun, shoot one gun, shoot the other gun when they're able to stand there and shoot. Does a normal fortress alternate its cannons as well? Oh yeah, he goes left and then he goes right. Yeah, okay. They do alternate their cannons. Nice round win for Tungdil there. Overlord carried his last round, immediately sells. I will never be good at this game. I feel you, dude. Yeah, the Overlord Fortress actually has decent chaff clear there, but still not good enough. All right, guys, we've got EMP up against was that deployment module? Yeah, the redeployment comes in. So Rooster is thinking about moving his fortresses around a little bit. Barrier is too expensive for this turn. I don't think he can afford that with only 1,500 money, but he should put his shield down to try and protect himself, because this EMP is going to be deadly, and Rooster does not want to lose this round. Fang production has come in, by the way, and I think if he had Mustangs or something, it'd be fine, but because it's only Tungdil who has the Mustangs, he doesn't have Mustangs. I really wonder what Rooster can do here. He's buying range. Guys, he hasn't bought barriers. I feel like if you're going to buy barriers, it's usually one of the first things you do. Now, he will oil. That'll help burn everything up there, which could be very effective. Tungdil, though, is like, dude, I got Fang production, I got range, I've got Mustang, so I've got the classic Fortress Mustang Fang sort of setup. This is just a really well solid, rounded setup. The Mustangs are your chaff clear and anti-air. Fortresses are going to do great damage with range and spawn Fangs. The only problem is your Mustangs are going to run in front of your fortresses. They've got 5 meter less range. That's the one downside. He's going to try and dive this left side, dive onto the tower. That's actually really cute. I don't know, even with oil, can you survive this round as Rooster? 1,700 life in the bank. The EMP is going to come down. Barrier did drop, and it does protect all 3 of those giants. Only one fortress on the right side gets hit by the EMP. Really nicely done. Vulcan comes in. As it runs forward, it will get absolutely wrecked the moment a fortress starts shooting it. And the marksman and the tarantulas do take it down. Left side tower dive coming in. Crawlers are going to start to overwhelm that. This fortress comes in. That is a level 3 tower, though. Great upgrades for Rooster. Holding on. Launcher Overload, allowing these fortresses to actually clear chaff somewhat decently. But still so much chaff to clear. A fire doing the Lord's work. It will keep Rooster alive this turn. But he's gonna lose the round, but he won't die. Because he's cleared enough enemy units. The double paralyze finally comes in. That mobile beacon fortress you can see moving and shooting at the same time. The power of the mobile beacon, just excellent. And wow, this fortress just refusing to die. He's got that 80% hit points, level 3, 260,000 hit points almost, but way too much turning back and forth there. And And that's the problem when you're surrounded in this game. Too much turn time, not enough shoot time. Buy more armor, no more advance on the field, says add the Webber. What does that mean? Buy more armor, no more advance on the field. All right, guys. Rooster's going to go for the Phantom Rays. Could have picked Arc Lights, Melting Points, or Steel Balls. Phantom Rays are going to be good because you can click armor on that and just absorb all the Mustang damage and just sit up front and do big stuff. But clicking armor is a big expense. So is he willing to commit to that? Looks like the answer is probably no. He's going to borrow money, pay for range, because otherwise he's going to get lethal this turn. Melting Point comes in with range. A good choice. That's going to win any duels, as it will have a big 35-meter range advantage over these fortresses. So getting 2 melters really helps out. One of them is level 3 as well. And it's going to be oil. Oil! Okay, so that the Phantom Rays are going to try and throw some oil down. He's got a Vulcan on both sides. Vulcan, Fortress, plus oil Phantom Rays. I mean, he basically realizes I need fire. I've already got fire. Now I need to spread that fire. If I spread the fire, maybe I can hang on. Maybe. This is going to be a close round. If Tungdil wins this round, he probably wins the entire game. He's setting his melters up on the back. Oh, wow, he sets up a melter in a reserve position. I think he's thinking maybe there'll be a fortress flank, and maybe it's just good to have the melter arrive to the fight rather late. Does feel like it's very far back. This level 3 melter, though, could be very effective. Definitely going to clear those Phantom Rays pretty quickly, as they'll be on the front line. Missiles going down, guys. You can see it clears the front crawlers. Phantom Rays starting to spread that oil, and that's where the damage can come in big. That Vulcan setting fire to the rain, doing some massive damage. Doesn't set all the oil on fire on the left side, though, unfortunately. Oh, it wasn't quite connected. The oil just barely wasn't connected to that fire on the left side. So a lot of Mustangs survive, which Rooster was hoping to take out with that oil upgrade choice. It's kind of funny, because I always think of armor to counter Mustangs, but I think oil's a much more logical choice for Rooster. But look at these melters, man. Oh, the range advantage. Even the level 1 melter is just wrecking those fortresses. Wow, 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 wow. Oh, damn, dude. Tungdil crushes this one. And it turns out, I was saying, hey, forts aren't going to go toe-to-toe with the enemy fortresses because of launcher overload. Turns out it doesn't matter. If you just win the chaff war, it's fine. You have fangs, you have crawlers, you've got everything you need, and there's just no chaff clear at all on this side, other than a single Vulcan. And especially if you're not Giant Spec, yes, you got the Fortress unlocked for free, but paying 200 to unlock the Vulcans, then spending another 400, and yet you've only got 2 units that only cover one little set. There's different columns, there's units filtering in from all sides. It feels like the Vulcans just aren't quite enough in this situation. Maybe a little bit too fancy for Rooster trying to skip the Arclight stage of the game. It's a best of 3, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's a fortress on the flank last turn. Rooster repositioned it. Oh, there was! Thank you, Canatos. I did not catch that. Thank you, mate. Dude, so much to process in these games. I really wanted to cast this just because the thingo is going to happen tomorrow, the patch. So I'm like, I want to cast this now. I got to cast this now before the patch comes out, you know. See what happened in these games. When in doubt, build more Mustangs. It's ridiculous how many games that wins you. It's not a bad way to do it. Assuming you're getting levels on them, but you can pay to get the elite. Oof. Hope you guys are doing good. All right, guys. Well, apparently I missed. There was actually a fortress on the flank in that last game, but it got repositioned the round before. Remember, deployment module got taken by Rooster, so he was being clever, getting those melters repositioned. Didn't matter though. Tungdil is up 1 game, going fortified spec, sledgehammer crawler. I do not like fortified spec personally, but I've seen these top players do fantastic things with it, so I really shouldn't be hating. Sabertooth spec comes in for Rooster, which does give you discounted upgrade, guys. You get a Sabertooth on round 3, you get 50 discount cost on all Saber upgrades. Does that mean you're going to use that? Probably not. Usually no, but occasionally yes. And it is going to be a Hound Ball start, which generally is very weak to charge shot Arclights. But I don't know if you're that committed. You can always sell out of the Hounds or the Balls. You can always turn this into something else. But Rooster's going to go asymmetric. He goes all in on his left side. And remember, Fortified, he's up against. Balls don't care too much about Fortified. And Saber's going to come in. He's got those vertical sledges. They do kind of clump a little bit as the enemy gets close, but vertical sledge is very good against balls. Usually it's kind of a counter. And these crawlers are actually going to do great damage as well. Hounds on the bottom right are defending that side very well. I don't know who wins an Arclight or a squad of hounds. I think it's the Arclight by the looks of it. Balls will eventually get through here. It's totally okay to lose a round or two to the balls. Long term, the balls don't have great longevity versus sledges. Like I said, the sledges counter them. So I think you're not looking to invest heavily in the balls here. They're also weak to hackers. They're also weak to scorpions. Balls are a good early tempo unit. And occasionally you can spread them across the whole board and kind of just say, look, even though there's easy counters, I'm in so many different areas of the board, attacking from so many angles. That's the real difficulty. Countering balls in a single location, very easy, but balls, it's all about covering different attack angles, coming from many different sides and trying to see what you can do. All right, guys, a bunch of very cute abilities there. Both Assault Fang, Subsidized Balls. They're all kind of the very rare picks, so both players just skip, get the bonus 50 supplies, and indeed, as I was saying, coming from all sides, Crawler's starting to set up on a little bit of a semi-flank there, just the forward kind of corner. What do we invest in? It looks like this was Phoenix. So Phoenix plus Crawlers for Rooster, and it looks like for Tungdil, it's just another squad of sledges and another Arclight. Super chill, and more crawlers coming in as well. There's no real proper chaff clear, just hounds, and the hounds haven't leveled yet. Once the hounds level, they start to one-shot the crawlers, which makes them much more effective against them. Until they get those levels, they do struggle a little bit. I mean, they're not bad against them, but they're not clearing them the way an Arclight's clearing them, right? And you can see as the sledge count grows, the balls start to lose momentum. It's so hard to get forward chaff clear that can keep speed with them. But the Phoenix is going to win the round. Anyway, it's going to gain experience, gain levels. It's going to develop with time. And now it's on you, Mr. Sledgehammer Arclight defensive play. What are you going to do next, Tungdil? How do we deal with this? We're up one game. If we win this game, we win the entire Serpentine Mag1 Tournament Cup. I don't know, man. I am thinking if I was in his shoes, I'm up against this sort of style, I would just add chaff and I would wait for my opponent to show their hand. Maybe click range on the Arclight. Maybe range on the Arclight. I was talking about charge shot earlier, but because we have the sledges, you don't even need it. If you didn't have the sledgehammers, just Arclights and chaff or something like that, I think it would be more of a choice. Now, Tungdil does go for fangs. The UI just bugging a little bit here. So it's going to be 4 squads of fangs. I mean, that's amazing. Like I said, you just want to make more chaff and wait for Rooster to commit something before you commit. And that's exactly what he gets to do. And actually, no, he does go Scorpion. Oh, and his Fire Badger gets picked by Rooster. Oh, man. Oh, no. Scorpion kind of counters Fire Badger and Hounds and Balls. And I mean, there are more Phoenix coming in. The Saber goes on the right side. I feel like Scorpion's a really good choice here for Tungdil, though. Then again, his anti-air is lacking. He's mostly Fangs for anti-air. Only 1 squad of delayed Fangs as well. There's an argument here that if he makes another Scorpion on the right side... Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's dominant or anything. Let's see how this goes. I'm just worried Rooster's going to get 2-0 and get knocked out of the tournament. And I would love to see a 3rd game in this finals, guys. Slow that game speed right down. Fire Badgers on the right side going to do really good since the Scorpion's on the left. Scorpion has, of course, cleared those balls. His last shot was kind of a little bit unnecessary, but just look how easily that left flank gets crumpled. These Phoenix will go down to the Fangs as well. But, of course, Rooster's going to get the first Tower Snipe. Remember what I've said, though, in a bunch of my other casts. First Tower Snipe is not a good thing a lot of the time. There are situations where it is. If you're still fighting as the Paralyze comes in, but what do you kill? 1 Crawler, 1 Arclight? Now the Paralyze wears off, and just as you engage is when that tower debuff is going to come in. Worst possible timing. Worst possible timing here for Rooster to get the tower debuff, because now your units are paralyzed as the actual fight starts. And look at that, guys. Scorpion's going to go boom, boom. The Sabertooth barely surviving the first shot. And Fire Badgers do come in, but it's going to be 1 shot from the Scorpion to clean both of those up. Oh, actually, they do survive 1 shot, don't they? And you know what? Not enough Fangs to clean up the air, I don't think. I think there's only 1 or 2 Fangs in there. Isn't there? Yeah, 1 Fang. He's like, oi! Oi, mate! Oi, I'm gonna shoot you, bro! I'm gonna shoot you with my little gun. Oh, and he just gets bopped. So that's gonna be that. And that should be a very nice round win there from the Phoenix or Rooster. Rooster still hasn't lost a round. He is set up in the forward position though, so Rooster has to worry about that. But great thing about the forward position, you're not as vulnerable to spells. Whereas this setup here, really weak to Incendiary. So what you could do as Rooster is you could skip on the Incendiary pick because you know he's going to have to do a shield here. And you could just go, oh, I know you have to commit to that shield, therefore I'm not going to go for the Incendiary, and I'll put it on the other side where you don't expect it. But notice how he's pivoted to the right side. He's getting range on that level 3 Fire Badger. I think most of his units are going to be on this side now as well. So he is still going to go for it there and hope that it doesn't get barriered. Looks like he will be correct. A lot of chaff will move through the fire and die. Of course, a fair bit of his chaff is also going to move through the fire and get killed as well. And it seems like you've got 3 Scorpions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Arc Lights. No range on those Arc Lights. And that's because the Crawlers are just charging in and getting themselves killed, as are the Hounds. It's not an especially long-range battle, so range isn't as important as just having the answers to everything that's on Rooster's side of the map. Fire Badger's going to get wrecked by Scorpions. Hounds going to get wrecked by Scorpions. The balls have been sold because of the Scorpion investment. Rooster's got those Phoenix, which I think are his biggest asset right now. And notice, he's mobile beaconing these Phoenix because he wants them to come in a bit delayed. So he's going to try and make sure that they come in from this tower direction and try to attack from that side, and it gives time for the Fangs to walk into the fire, I think is his idea. So he's going to try and have these Phoenix picking off units from this side of the fire where they're protected. Oh no, he cancelled the mobile beacon. Never mind. He ended up using the mobile beacon on the right side. And look at that. Fire Badgers and Phoenix moving through. Both sides, everything burning up. Wow, wow, wow. Fire Badgers in the corner as well. Now, Badgers do get wrecked by Scorpions, but very hard to deal with these Phoenix with Fangs when there's fire all over the map. So we're going to be seeing, yes, the Fire Badgers get cleared in the top right. Hounds get cleared by the Arclight. But once again, the Phoenix are just causing too many problems. Look at that. The Fangs barely getting in range, but they're dying as they do. I think they all die. They all die to the fire. They just get one attack off and then burn to death. And these Phoenix are a real problem. It feels like Tungdil should be dominating some of these rounds, but instead he's taking damage because of the Phoenix. Additional deployment slot, one of the best value in a long game. Advanced targeting system is sometimes good in a long-range war, but usually not as early as round 5. I think additional deployment is the easy pick. It's hard to say no to it. Rooster is ahead on the hit points, though, significantly, and might be thinking, hey, I can kill him. See what Rooster picks here. Does go for the additional deployment. Goes for the conservative choice, just thinks about it for a little bit before going for it. Now check it out. We've got a lot of levels available. Range goes down on the Arclights. Range goes down on the Scorpions. So you can just see the same army, but it's getting better and better. And finally, fixing his weakness, Tungdil adds 2 marksmen. No upgrades on them just yet. He just needs some sort of long-ranged anti-air unit to deal with those Phoenix. But look at this! Rooster! He's gone mad. He's going to go hacks. Guys, he's going for hackers. He's going to assault with Fire Badgers for the chaff clear. He's going to start trying to steal the Sledges, the Arclights, and the Scorpions. Wow, cool swap. Level 1, he has not paid for Elite. Level 1 range hackers. Does that pay off? I think it's going to be difficult if these Fire Badgers go down too fast from the Scorpions, but he's committed to the flank. He's kind of committed to almost a cage here. He could put another unit down here of like Fangs or something to obstruct the Arclight and just waste time. And it's really always fascinating because hackers are such a swingy unit. You can just basically flush your chances of winning down the drain by investing to these at the wrong time, or you can make crazy comebacks with them as well. So check it out, guys. On this right side, those hackers are going to start hacking. Fire Badgers in the top right are going to kill a lot of chaff before getting taken out by the Scorpion. The Arclight is clearing up those crawlers. Fire Badgers are doing a really good job of clearing. If they can clear this crawler squad, you're going to start to see high-value hacks go down very shortly. There's not much left buffering for these hackers, though. These hackers need to start stealing units right now to create a new buffer, and they don't have a lot of chaff clear with them. This may have been a mistake, guys. The hackers may have been a mistake. The Phoenix gunned down some very high-value units. Stealing chaff is really important there, but the Paralyze comes down, and you can see how slow the lifesteal is, or not the lifesteal, but the mind control. When you've got a Paralyze effect, the Scorpion is going to blast that hacker. That hacker's going to go down, and this, with the marksman now to deal with the Phoenix, Tungdil has been losing every round, even though he's been winning against everything on the ground. finally, with a couple of marksmen in the back, he crushes and gets over 1,000 damage, about 1,000 damage there to Rooster. Did he take the range increase? No, they both took the additional deployment. Alright guys, we've got another unit drop. 2 squads of rank 3 Stormcallers. Usually you don't want to take that, very easily interceptable unless you want to sell them. 1 squad of rank 3 Farseer is a bit too much power centralized in 1 unit. 1 rank 2 Sandworm is a good sack of meat. And the Raiden doesn't really have that many targets it would be good against. Maybe versus the Fire Badgers, Raiden's quite good. Now, interestingly, we're going to go Firehound. So it's Fire Badgers and Firehounds. It looks like he took the Farseer and sold it. So Rooster, yeah, Rooster took the Farseer just to sell it. Tungdil took the Worm. Level 2 Worm comes in. He wants just some meat to help slow down this right side. Very hard to mind control 115,000 hit point Worm, and if they start trying to mind control it and then it ducks underground, you've just wasted a bunch of time, right? Which does nothing. So, whereas if you damage the Worm, it goes underground. It's not like it's healing unless it has burrow maintenance, which no one goes for at pro level. Hacking, it's not like the hack remains at the percentage it was up to. It's gonna have to restart the hack when it re-emerges. So Worms can be really good against hackers. They can also be, hey, here's a free Worm. And giving away a Worm can really suck. So it is going to give a very easy hacking target. It just depends, is there enough chaff to keep that Worm unburrowed? Barrier going down on these hackers. It's 4 hackers with range and a barrier. Rooster's got incendiary hounds. He's going to be dropping fire all over the place, mostly on this left flank. He's got fire guys in the back on the right. So he's going to look for delayed fire bombs on the right side. Fire badges in the top right still being a massive nuisance. And look at that, guys. The Scorpion actually gets aggroed on the crawlers, which means those fire badges in the top right are destroying. Worm comes out of the ground. Hackers, are they going to start trying to hack it? They probably will in a moment, but it keeps popping in, popping out of the ground. It's prairie dogging it right now, much like when you need to do a number 2. And it just keeps poking its head in and out. Sorry, guys. Gross analogy. Old movie reference for anyone who remembered that one. Worm comes in, does take out the hacker. And dude, I think Rooster's getting demolished there, guys. Tungdil just wrecking. I don't think barriers was a good choice. You know, it's always hard for me to decide when to go barriers, but it didn't seem like it really helped that much there, and it may have been the wrong click. That's the name of the movie. Yeah, Amazing Race. That was it. Little prairie dog poking its head out of its little hole in the... Seeing if there's any predators around. How you doing, Smith? Alright guys, so I think that was a big mistake. A big mistake with the barriers. The Scorpions already do too much damage. They counter it, which I absolutely agree with, Countertoss. Great comment there in the chat. Barrier on the fortress. Now obviously that doubles up with the other barrier. So it's not the best long term if you want to go carry. But we are going anti-air fortresses to try and shoot down the Phoenix. I don't like this choice. The reason is it's a level 3 Phoenix and a level 2 Phoenix. They're not going to die that easily just to a single anti-air barrage. It'll take 2 or 3. You will eventually kill it. So I would only like this if I liked the fortress against the rest of the army. Well, it's pretty good at clearing the fire badges, though the Scorpions already kind of have that covered. It's kind of, I mean, barriers are going to be good long term. So I think he's just saying, look, I'll probably sell that fortress, build a new one whenever I click barrier, because barrier is really good against hack. Remember, hackers only do a certain amount of the damage. I think it's like 1/3 or something up against these shields. You guys can verify the exact number in chat if you know it. And now we see what Rooster's doing. Ladies and gentlemen, I was like, what is this play? It is a range war factory. Holy moly, and pays for the life upgrade. That is a range level 2 war factory. Oil goes down to the front as well. Rooster is digging deep into his bag of creative tricks. He goes for a fire on the right side. He busts the barriers so quickly that the oil gets down. Sets it on fire. A massive fire. The worm just gets annihilated by the war factory. Unfortunately, the war factory does so much damage. The worm doesn't really get stolen with much life left. These hackers on the left are doing nothing. They're getting absolutely destroyed. And it does feel unfortunate that the hackers are running in front and getting killed. Was the War Factory too far back? I'm not quite sure. War Factory is still going to do crazy damage. You might think, well, he's got no support. He's going to get swarmed. I don't know if that's the case. It does have only 4.5 meter splash, one of the lowest splash ranges in the game. But does it still kill this entire army is my question. And it seems like a dumb question because there's so much chaff and it's not good against chaff. but it's also 400,000 hit points against an army that doesn't do that much. I think with the Scorpion and the Marksman arriving and that much Fangs, you should be able to kill the War Factory, and that should be a win for Tungdil. Oh my gosh. Dude, it just refuses to die. Remember, it has guns shooting in different directions. You can see it has multiple turrets on it. It has 4 different turrets. One of them is inactive right now because it's got nothing in its arc of fire. So now both guns on the right side aren't shooting. This is one of the most annoying things if you're using the War Factory, is it is stupid. It will not turn to use all of its weapons. It will just sit there with 2 of its weapons idling, staring at the Marksman in front of it, shooting the unit to its side, and Rooster... What? Rooster survives? Okay, Rooster survives. I thought Rooster was dead. I thought Rooster was out of the tournament, ladies and gentlemen. But Rooster is on 38 life and has 1 more chance to deal with his chaff clear problem. What does he do? Now remember, portable shield, items cannot go on the War Factory. Titan units cannot equip items, otherwise it would be broken. Rhino assault for Tungdil. And I imagine, yeah, I mean, what's he going to go for? Does he just get more hounds with fire? He might get a hound in the back corner, and he might just mobile beacon it to run back and forwards. So that the hound arrives really late and just starts setting things on fire. I know that sounds silly, but unless he's going to build an entirely new unit, I feel like fire badgers and hounds are just going to run in front of the War Factory. Now, he ends up taking the Rhino drop, guys. He's going to do the Rhino drop defensively in case there's an enemy Rhino drop on him, which there is, but he guesses the position wrong. And that means if his tower gets taken out... Guys, will this Phoenix turn around in time? I think 1 Phoenix will turn, and I think it will kill the Rhino just before it kills the tower. The Crawlers won't turn, though. It'll take 3 shots from a level 2 Phoenix, I believe, to kill a Rhino. I think 3 shots from one of these Phoenix will barely kill it. So I think Rooster's okay, unless he sells the Phoenix. Oh, he's going to get tower debuffed. Okay, he's going to make another War Factory, but he's going to get tower debuffed. This is really bad for him. He's got more hounds with fire. He has another War Factory this time, so he's like, well, if I have a War Factory on the left as well, we'll be completely okay. Barrier goes down on those giants, those fortresses. Incendiary on the right side is going to stop a lot of his right side advance. Rhino versus Rhino. Oh, his Rhino is close enough. They do aggro onto each other, and the War Factory as well has a 155-meter range. 4 attacks, each doing 16,000 damage, shoots every 1.8 seconds, and you can see when the fight's going on, the guns are shooting on both sides of the War Factory. The Incendiary did burn up his entire front line, but it doesn't matter if you've got 2 War Factories. These War Factories are blasting right now. Now look at that, there's crawlers all over here swarming at its base, but they are slowly getting gunned down by its side turrets, guys. It will clear up the chaff eventually. It takes a while, but look at that on the right side. The Scorpions! It just one-shot a bunch of Scorpions and a Marksman. Oh my lord. Now keep in mind, guys, he does not have efficient maintenance, which means he is losing. He doesn't even have it on his loadout. He is losing 400 supplies per round. He does 1,000 damage, which is amazing. Is Rooster going to keep his tournament alive on 38? If he loses any round at all, he will die. He needs to just... He's all in. He's hemorrhaging supplies. He needs to get a lot of damage done, and he needs it soon. Wow, 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 wow. I like the concept of hackers. Now I feel better about losing every time I use them. Oh, I always lose with hackers as well, man. They're a real art. They're pretty hard to get the hang of. They're very hit or miss, Twitch chat. They are very hit or miss. Sometimes they're god tier, and sometimes they're the worst thing you ever invested in. Acid is here, chat says. Oh, Acid. Acid. Any unit in Acid is going to take 250% damage, which means every attack to them, these War Factories, when they're in Acid, will take 3.5 times damage. That's big. That's really big. Now, he has to pay for range. He absolutely has to pay for range, does Rooster, guys. But remember, Rooster only has 850 money. He's making Farseers right now. Now, why is he making Farseers, guys? I think he's worried about wasps. He's basically saying, look, you just need to win 1 round. You're going to go for a wasp swap because I have nothing to answer wasps. So he makes 2 Farseers, puts a rangefinder on one. And indeed, there are wasps. Wasps in the corner, ladies and gentlemen. Great anticipation there. Dude, Rooster with his big brain. These Dutch gamers are so good, man. He's like prodigious streamer, content creator, YouTuber, and one of the best, man. Streamer casually ignoring the percent damage, says Sasuke. I don't know what the percent damage is. I don't know what you mean. What is a percent damage? Did one of them take a percentage damage item? No, they did not. Here we go, guys. Fire badges, War Factories fighting. We've got the range and the barrier on those hackers. Farseer should be able to stop these. Looks like some hackers might get stolen this time as the barriers go down to the war factories. Farseer will defend the tower, by the way. And it seems like, yeah, the Farseer defends the tower. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Are these, dude, these fortresses? Level 1 hacker takes 6 years to mind control a single fortress. Finally does take control of it. Gotta watch out for the acid, man. Wow. Acid obliterates, dude. And that might just be that. Does steal one of the scorpions himself. He's still got a Farseer, 2 hackers on the right side. I think the acid still gets it, though. If he kills this tower at the right time, that tower paralyzed, I think, wins it for him. Unless, could he get the hack? Oh, he can't get the hack. He kills it before he can hack it. It's all about these hackers. Paralyzed comes in at the perfect time. This scorpion, can this scorpion win the game? Can this scorpion win the game? What did he just shot next to it. The hack came in and he shot at his own feet. Oh, and then he doesn't quite have enough damage to kill. In the time, wait, what happened? Oh, they all got hacked. Sorry, they all got hacked. Tungdil takes the damage. They all got hacked. Never mind. They changed sides. I didn't even realize they changed sides. I've been casting this whole top 4. It's gone for so many hours. My God. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Streamer casually ignores the % damage on acid. It does % damage and enhances damage. Oh, it also does 3% per second. I literally forgot that was a thing, guys. I literally forgot it does 3% per second as well. I totally forgot about that, which on a war factory with 400,000 or 330,000 hit points, it's doing like, yeah, 10,000 hit points a second as well from sitting in the acid, which really isn't meaningful compared to the other bonus. Guys, Rooster's on 38 life. If Rooster can survive a bit longer, he's got Launcher Overload. It reduces the range, but his war factories are absolutely blasting. And look at this. Level 3 hacker, level 2 hacker, level 2 hacker. These hackers that were level 1 for so long finally are getting some levels. And if you can steal scorpions and stuff, these slow shooting arclights and scorpions, and turn them on each other, they can be very weak. Now, look at this, guys. Wraith comes in. Wraith? I don't know about the Wraith. I think the Farseer will deal with it just fine. It's not going to kill it super fast. It will help clear a bit of chaff. But the Wraiths are going to come in to try and help out with a bit of chaff clear. The fortresses have barrier, range, and anti-air barrage. The scorpions are here. Still no melters to help speed up the war factory. He says, I've got scorpion acid. That's all I need. And he might be right. Tungdil just needs 38 damage. He needs to survive with like 1 friggin' arclight to win this game. That's all he needs to do. If he can win with 1 arclight left over, he has this game in the bag. Rooster fighting for his survival. The Dutch maniac, the madman. He's been doing a lot of creative meme builds this tournament. Now he is trying to make a comeback with his blazing war factories. He's got fire painted on them like a man that claims to have a lot more intimate relationships than he actually does. You know, I'm just saying, guys, if Jay from the In-Betweeners drove a war factory, he'd paint it like this war factory. You guys know what I'm talking about. Dude, the war factory goes down to the acid. It melts from the acid, but the mind controls are coming in, so it doesn't matter. Dude, does he just need more chaff? Tungdil's gonna lose again? Yeah, look at that. The barrier actually blocks one of the acids. The scorpion turns, shoots his other scorpion. Rooster refuses to die. His name is Rooster, yet right now he's playing like a cockroach. I feel like Tungdil has been stomping, punching, trying to smash it, but he's just not being able to kill this bloody dirty, this dirty roach. Tungdil goes Mustang production line. He's going to make some Mustangs spawn. These war factories, do you sell them at this point, guys? They're adding good damage. They're upgraded, but they are getting wrecked by the scorpions. I think you're winning these rounds. Don't change it. Just lean into what you're already doing. He's bought damage. He's bought health, level 1, level 1. Only damage level 1 has been bought for Tungdil. Dude. What do we even do right now? On both sides. It looks like Napalm came down. I don't know when Napalm came down, guys. So the Fire Badger is going to do less damage, but they're going to set the ground on fire now. He's got 1, 2, 3 Fire Badger squads with Napalm. Now we've got what we refer to here as the backdoor surprise, ladies and gentlemen. Also known as Crawler Run-By. That is there to distract the Farseer. And the Farseers do have an EMP upgrade, which means, you know, normally it would run up and kill this Wraith, but instead it's going to be busy chasing these crawlers. Or will it? Missile. Very good predictive missile there. Missiles covering the back. There's also a few missiles spread across the front. The hacker count is actually really high now as well. It's like 7 hackers, I think. 7 hackers, 2 war factories, a bunch of fire, which is going to do great against all these fangs. There is fang production and barriers and anti-air barrage and range. My god, all 4 upgrades. The ultimate carry forts for Tongdel. The problem is those fangs are suffering at the hands of the fire. Let's see how it goes now. There's so many missiles going down. Oil on that right side is going to try and clear up all the chaff that moves through that. The war factory is there. The fire badgers moving forwards. The hackers trying to mind control, but it's only landing on the chaff so far. The war factories need to clear through. The wraiths going down. They are getting EMP'd by the Farseers, and they are getting taken out. You can see here, it is the final stand down. Whoever wins this round will win the game, almost certainly. Rooster's been on 38 life for the last 5 rounds, but he refuses to die. And this time, the Scorpions aren't shooting his war factories. Finally, they clear that right side factory. If he can break these hackers before the hacks go down, that'll be crucial. But he loses a fortress, and he loses a tower on the left side at the same time. That's going to be game ending, because now the hackers have time to steal the Scorpion. 1 hacker goes down, but it doesn't matter, because the other hack completes the hack. Scorpions trade shots, and the Scorpion that got hacked ends up winning that. Everything goes down. The last chaff units. Rooster was dead in the water in this game. This man just did a Kill Bill. Was it volume 2? Which Kill Bill was it? Where she punches. She does her little 1-inch punch. She punches her way out of the grave. He does a Girl with the Dragon Tattoo final book when she friggin' climbs out of the grave and starts murdering. You guys know what I'm talking about. Rooster just went badass mode and resurrected himself from the grave.